Okay, so wrapping up season 1. So the other one, season 1, episode 7, the honeymoon. So this is the aftermath of obviously the failed wedding, or the wedding that never happened, and Cathy is of course depressed. And so a lot didn't happen in this episode, but some important things did happen. So in an effort to console Cathy, Cat comes up with this idea that maybe they should do their own honeymoon. So they're going to take the boat and take it downstream and to this place that Cat has planned. So they're going to go to this place that has some significance that would have some significance to both of them. Tess finally decides that she has to, in order for her to move on, she has to let go of all this anger and resentment that she has towards Colin. And so she goes up to the to where they had the bench and they did the flares for his ashes. And she stands on this rock and she screams, "I forgive you, Colin." And so there are some people up there working, I guess, that she didn't even know. And one of the guys was like, "But that's okay," like being a jerk, right? Just ruining the whole moment, right?
"I forgive you, Colin Walcott!"
That's okay!
So, but she finally just went on and got it off her chest and found some peace in that. So Marilyn is at the house, and Cathy had left the keys with her to her parents' house because the same realtor that sold them their house, her and Marcus their house, is handling the sale for her parents' house. And so she had left the keys with Marilyn. So the realtor called Marilyn to get the keys. So Marilyn had to go and meet her at the old house to give her the keys. So when she gave her the keys, the realtor gave her some mail that had been delivered that had, they'd been there for a minute. So while this is going on, Cathy and Kat are on the boat and they are having themselves a good old time, right? Just dancing and talking and having, just living it up, right?
Oh.
Baby, can't you see I'm calling?
So Marilyn is on her way back to the house and she's on the bus. So she opens one of, there's like a final notice or something that came from Colin's attorney's office. So Cathy and Kat finally reached their destination, and Cathy is surprised. Kat took them to this pub that was important to their dad. He would go there frequently, and there was actually a photo of him standing outside the pub. And so, of course, Cathy is happy that they're going to go to this place and experience this together, and it was clearly some place that was significant to their dad.
Look, it's the pub for Dad's photo. I thought that if he can't come to us, we'll go to him, or at least his favourite place.
So while they're doing that, Marilyn arrives home, and Tess is sitting on her doorstep. So, of course, she's initially confused, like, what are you doing here? And so Tess basically was like, basically telling her how she forgives her, that she doesn't want to have all this anger in her, and that, she wants to move on. So, as far as Marilyn's concerned, she don't feel like she did anything wrong. So her attitude was very much, okay. But then she drew her attention to this letter that she received, and so they ended up having to went into the house to call the attorney, and the attorney's office basically said they had to come in and had to bring, certain forms of ID in order for him to release the information and for them to see Colin's will. So Cathy and Kat are at the pub, and now it's time for Kat's makeover. And so, of course, her makeup is gaudy, her hair, her outfit, but she loves it. So they're having him a great time.
Oh my God. I love it.
So, because they're not familiar with boats, they didn't do a good job at securing the boat. And so somebody ran in and basically said the boat was going down the stream. So a guy jumps in and goes over to get the boat and pull it back to the bank and tie it down properly. So to thank him, Cathy invited them for drinks, but you can kind of tell that Kat, really wasn't feeling that because it's supposed to be a girls' trip.
Can I buy you two a drink as a thank you? That's okay, isn't it, Kat?
So Tess and Marilyn are at the attorney's office, and he finally puts the wheel in front of them, and he starts explaining to them basically summarizing what it all entails. And so, of course, he drops a bomb on them.
It's very straightforward. The majority of it goes to Tess as his lawful wedded wife, and the rest of it's divided equally between the 3 children. 3 children,
right? So, suddenly, Marilyn's all light in love, and, her zen, and I'm all, I'm all peace and all that, happiness, kind of went out the window, and she snapped. Suddenly, Colin went from being her goddess lover to being a lying piece of crap. Now, which is a contrast to Marilyn, which is in contrast to Tess, who has now come to peace with everything, and she's just like, okay, whatever, girl. At this point, the man's been cheating on me for 30 years, so I like anything, a person can tell me at this point about him, she's just come to terms with it. But Marilyn, on the other hand, she going off. So, the guys who, got the boat, they had to go and change because they were soaking wet. And so when they came down, actually before that, so Cathy is talking to the bartender. And the bartender is the daughter of the owner, but the owner wasn't there. And so they're talking, and Cathy, we find out that the bartender's name is also Catherine, right?
I'm Kat, she's Cathy. We're actually both Catherines.
I'm a Catherine.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Kat came because Cathy was actually on the floor dancing, so she comes over for a drink, and that's when they start talking. And Catherine, the bartender, who says they call her Kit, says that she found out that Colin had passed, and so she's all sad and like, oh my God, he used to do our game nights on Thursdays. So remember the way the first episode ended, where they did the flares, and Tess was like, I'm glad that he had golf on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Kat was like, well, he never came to us on Thursdays, so now we know that he was spending Thursdays at the pub. And now we got this bartender whose name is also Catherine. So we just gonna keep listening, going on down this rabbit hole. So now the guys return, and Cathy wants to buy them the drink as a thank you. And so Cathy, you could tell, is feeling some kind of way. Kat is kind of feeling some kind of way, because she's like, Cathy, okay, you can buy them a drink as a thank you, but then we should get our own table and kind of watch the sunset again. This is supposed to be about them connecting as sisters. So Marilyn and Tess are now in the car, and Tess is trying to find the girls to kind of let them know what they just found out. Marilyn is sitting in the passenger seat going off, talking about how she is enraged and how she's angered and how it's one thing for him to have a lover, but then for him to take a second lover is a betrayal. Like, she's just out her mind, right?
I am raging here, Tess. I am boiling over.
So Tess ends up slapping her to bring her to her senses. Like, girl, we need to find them and let them know what's going on. So, if we go back to the pub, Kat is now sitting outside by herself. Cathy comes out, and she's trying to want her to come back in so they can dance. And she see that Kat is upset.
Wait, are you jealous?
This was supposed to be our honeymoon.
And, they added out, they talked about it. It was all good. They went in, and they, danced the place down. So while they're dancing, they found the pub that they went to, and Marilyn ends up calling. And of course, Kat comes to the phone, and she tells Kat, like, you guys have a brother, and his name is Callum. No sooner than she says that, one of the guys that was sitting next to Kat at the bar called out to his friend Callum, which is the guy that jumped in the water to get the boat, and asked him what kind of drink he wanted.
You've got a brother. He's called Callum.
Why, Callum? What are you drinking?
So just as Kat was about to turn around, Callum and Cathy was about to kiss. And that's pretty much how this episode ends.